Hello and welcome to the Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover Week 9 preview episode. I am doing the hosting duties while Paul tries to concentrate on getting his ATS and FourFold challenge a bit in better shape this week. So, Paul, Joe, how are you feeling?
Very nervous now, actually. I'm on a real bad run. So, we need to arrest this slide. That's why I just need total concentration and focus, which is why you're hosting this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm the opposite, riding the wave, just keep it going, just, using the gut rather than the stats. I think that's my thing this year, and it seems to be working out. So, and I think it's it's not the last international day, but it's the first in Germany. So exciting to get up early again to watch. At least it'll be a good game this time. So nice 7 a.m. start.
Yeah, week 9, and it's in Germany. Although maybe that would be no in German, I guess. But and also you don't have to worry about the Niners this week, Joe. So that's a boon as it is at this point.
Exactly. Extra hour in bed as well. The clock's going back here in Canada, so it's going to be a good Sunday.
Grant. So that is our first game. We are going to preview our Frankfurt game. First ever game in Frankfurt. One of the biggest cities in Germany. Has 17 of the 18 skyscrapers. I've been doing some very important research.
Have you got Frankfurt stats?
Yeah, I'll be sending out a company email to my fantasy football work colleagues later, and I'll be including some Frankfurt fun facts. It is home to the world's biggest book fair.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. It's also called Manhattan in relation to it having the most skyscrapers in Germany. Anyway, but it is Dolphins at Chiefs. As much as you can be out there, Taylor Swift will not be in attendance. So we'll take that into consideration.
She's on tour, right? Yeah.
Yeah, international leg of Eras to a start, I think, the following week. So she's heavy preparation for that. Despite, I think this is about the 7,000th show on that run, so you'd figure it should be pretty well rehearsed at this point. But yeah, she needs a little more rehearsal time and doesn't want to travel all the way to Germany to see Travis Kelce play.
She might have had a good time in Frankfurt.
I wonder if maybe there's a bit of she doesn't want to have too much fun. I mean, if she meets Mike McDaniels, he's a very interesting character. Maybe Kelce will get bombed off. So maybe it's good for him that she doesn't attend.
Bigger in person, apparently, Mike McDaniel as well.
So I hear. So yeah, Chiefs go in as 1-point favourites. Nice real pick'em game. Paul, how do you see the game going?
Yeah, I think this is another test. We've talked about the 2 tests the Dolphins have had already at Buffalo, at Philadelphia, and they failed both tests. And I think this is going to be a third failed one. They don't quite have to, this is very different if they have to go to Kansas. Still in Germany, I think that the Chiefs bounced back. It was a very rough day for Mahomes and the Chiefs, together on Sunday in Denver. But I think they bounced back in this one. They've gone out late, the Chiefs, which worries me. What we've seen with the teams coming to London this year, the teams that have come to London late struggled. The Chiefs have gone late. Dolphins went a bit earlier. But I think the Chiefs just need a bounce back game and just a reminder that, they're the team to beat. They're the powerhouse. And I think they'll lay on the Dolphins. I like the Chiefs, -1. Love the Chiefs.
Grant, how are you feeling, Joe?
Yeah, well, it's actually the spread's actually moved since I looked last time. So it's -2 now, the Chiefs. So obviously, people have been backing them and not trusting the Dolphins. I have gone Chiefs as well, just because until the Dolphins can prove to me that they're a top team and they can beat another top team, I'm going to go the other way. But I feel like it's closer just because it still feels like the Chiefs can't put loads of points on the board. It always feels like it's a struggle. I feel like the other teams when they played the Eagles and play the Bills, it always feels like they can score when they want, when there's finally put it into gear. Where the Chiefs, it feels like it's been such a struggle. So I'm curious if the Dolphins, get up by 7-14, do the Chiefs have the firepower other than Kelce, who can't perform when Taylor Swift's not there? Can they actually put that together and crawl it back and outscore them? Because I still think Miami's offense is a good offense. I'm still not convinced with the defense, but can the Chiefs take over from that? And it's going to be a really good game. It's one I'm looking forward to. Obviously a rival game for Tyreek Hill, revenge game coming up. I don't know if you've got any more. I'm just trying to think off my head if there's any other rivals there, but I'm sure there'll be a few.
Yeah, and I think big for the Dolphins as well. Tyron Hemstead has travelled. Not confirmed that he's going to play yet, but I think just if he does, obviously that's a big boon. And Jalen Ramsey, obviously, made his Dolphins debut last week, so you presume, week fitter could certainly be a help. I think it should be a close game. I mean, it's a 1 point or 2 point spread now, so that would make sense. Despite fully agreeing with what you just said, Joe, about not picking the Dolphins to pick a good team until they beat one, I did pick the Dolphins, but in my defense, I said all this pre-Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift narrative. And also, Patrick Mahomes had the flu, traveling internationally, traveling late. A bit narrative-based, so that's why I've gone the Dolphins. The over-under is 50.5. Pretty big number, but Chiefs haven't been one of the best offenses in the league, but they've been top 10 still, even. It feels slightly slower by their standards, but still good.
Is it a fast track ball? Yeah. That's the question.
We don't know, do we? There's not been a game in Frankfurt. It's the home of Eintracht Frankfurt. Get there.
It was the home of Fast Track Frankfurt.
Yeah, indeed. But yeah, so we've no clue, and we've only got the one recent game in Germany last year in Munich to go off. But you've got the high scoring offense against one of the second stingiest defense in terms of points allowed. So yeah, it should be a good matchup, and I just think very much like the Eagles' defense managed to do. I think the Chiefs' defense will slow the Dolphins down, and we'll just see. I think there's a bit of Mahomes has got a little bit of a point to prove after was he responsible for personally responsible for 4 of the 5 turnovers last week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we'll see a much more disciplined performance, and the Chiefs bounce back with a win. It's interesting. A couple of stats. I'm prepared with the stats as always, gents. Dolphins are 8-2 against the spread in their last 10 games, so pretty consistent covering the spread. Chiefs as a favourite of 3 points or less, a 6-3-1 against the spread in the last 10.
What is the over/under on Andy Reid Bratverse pictures we're going to get? Do you think?
Oh, that's a good point.
It's surely got to be tucking in.
He's going to. Well, I don't think he's going to have enough time though. I think they're only getting there today. So
very good point.
But yeah, I would envisage that Andy Reid would absolutely love a Bratverse, or I guess a Frankfurt, right? If they go in there.
Quite possibly, yeah. I don't think we'll see him in Lederhosen, and we've got the wrong month. If he was there 2 weeks earlier, you've got all the Chiefs Dolphins pictures. Mike McDaniel will surely be cracking out Lederhosen either way, though, I think.
Wrong month and the wrong part of Germany.
Yeah, you're much more cultural on that than me. I came east to Chicago, not west to Munich, so I have no idea where any of these things are. I just know they're German generally, so...
Fair enough. Apologies to any German. We have got one, I think it's one German list. Well, one person that has listened to this podcast from Germany, and it wasn't me. So
I'll say, well, you're on holiday now. Well, give some tag to them and enjoy the game. So yeah, no game day pick for this game because it's too early in the day. But our next game will have a game day pick for it. We have the Seahawks going to Baltimore. As I thought, a pretty large number, 6 point underdogs. Seattle going into Baltimore. Joe, how are you seeing the game?
Yeah, I was shocked with the 6 points as well. I feel like it's a bit of a trap game just because it felt like Baltimore versus Lions. I was like, well, that spread's massive. Like,
yeah,
surely put all the money on Lions. Surely they're going to compete, and then the Ravens absolutely blister. But I think they're drawing me in again with the Seahawks. I think it's been 6 points. Are they going to win? Yeah, I'm not quite sure, but I think it's going to be a close game. I think the Seahawks defense is a lot better than what people thought it was, and they've obviously added Leonard Williams to that line. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a tough game for Ravens and vice versa. I don't think Gino's going to be piling the points as well, because I think they both struggled last week against probably inferior teams where you thought they would actually beat them by quite a bit more. So it is an interesting game, both top of their divisions, and a win for either team sets them up really well. So I think it's going to be a really good game. I've chosen the Seahawks to cover, but I do think the Ravens might win it by 3. Maybe Justin Tucker last second field goal. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I think for me, everything from last week should have said I'm staying clear of the Ravens because of how badly they screwed me. But I'm fading myself here because what I would do is then go against the Ravens because of how they screwed me last week, allowing the Cardinals to backdoor cover. But I'm going to fade myself and go, no, I'm going to stick with the Ravens. And there's some stats.
Body chest against yourself here.
I am, yeah. That's how bad I am in the hole right now, Byron. That's the hole I'm in. It's a rough place. And hopefully the Ravens will help me get out of it this week. But it's back to that. Lamar owns the NFC piece for me, I think. So 17-3 straight up in their last 20. The Ravens are against the NFC, 11-8-1 against the spread. So Lamar and the Ravens just own the NFC. So, yeah, I think the Ravens will win. And I think I wasn't particularly proud of the Seahawks. Won last week against the Browns, and it's real difficult to move the ball on that Browns defense. But I wasn't particularly impressed with how they played against PJ Walker and the Browns offensively. So, yeah, I'm expecting the Ravens to maybe another statement like we saw against the Lions here from the Ravens, maybe not quite to that extent, but I think we'll see. They were a bit of and Lamar played particularly well last week and kind of, they still put up 30 points, but they were very sloppy. And I think this is the opportunity to kind of fix some of those things and put in a polished performance. I'm on the Ravens. I like them to win this one and win this one quite comfortably. Yeah,
I have gone with the Seahawks as well, but I could see it being a close Baltimore win, certainly. What I did find interesting, done a little stat digging, as a road underdog by 6 or more points, the Seahawks are 7-3 against the spread in their last 10. And as a home favorite of 6 or more, Baltimore 3-7 against the spread in that time. So, a Baltimore close win would certainly add to those, statistical patterns we've got there. And I certainly wouldn't be surprised to see it. There was a couple of players who've been a bit on the periphery to start the year, who've been getting hyped by each of their teams. Zach Charbonnet had a kind of not a breakout game, but he was getting a lot of work off Kenneth Walker last week. And after the Odell Beckham experiment of trying to get him the ball a lot last week for 0 usage, Rashad Bateman's been getting a lot of hype from his coaching staff this week. So I'm not sure if either of those will be your thoughts on Fantasy Gameday players, but I think Charbonnet could be a cheap enabler type player who you just slot in as a cheap option. I know you'll have the price in there, Paul. I don't, but
Zach Charbonnet, £2,700. So opportunity there for you to spend on, go cheap there and spend premium elsewhere. My shout was going to be Gus Edwards off the back of his 3-touchdown game last week. Although apparently he's listed as questionable.
What's his price?
Gus Edwards is 4,300.
Any thoughts, Joe?
Again, I think it's going to be like a struggle game in terms of running the ball. I think maybe someone like Zay Flowers, I know we went for him last week and didn't pull off, but hopefully they've just realised, maybe let's not try and get Troy Alter Beckham non-stop. Let's actually try and get everyone open. And then, if you're struggling for wide receivers, I think any of the Seahawks ones, especially like Lockett and DK, they're always in a good shout for, catching a deep ball, because Gino does like to throw a few deep ones. So I think they're always a good shout if you are struggling with picking any wide receivers. And I can't imagine them, them being crazy expensive, especially playing against, the Ravens, who are ranked number 1. So I think they're probably the best shouts.
Yeah, Flowers at 4,900, Lockett 3,500, Metcalf 4,100, and JSN 2,500.
I wouldn't go JSN and Zach Charbonnet, certainly, but either one of them I think is a good enabler to load your roster up elsewhere.
Well, JSN's got touchdowns in back-to-back games now, hasn't he? So, maybe the opportunity that he's got rolling. So,
and especially if, as a 6-point underdog, you expect more passing volume.
Yeah.
So, it could certainly come. The over-under on this game is 44 points. Seems about right. You've got to start for me. Perfect.
Start for you. Ravens is a home favourite. The under is 8-2 in the last 10.
Yeah, I seem to remember you say this every time Ravens are favourites, and it keeps hitting, so...
Yeah, it does. It absolutely keeps hitting. So, actually, it didn't against the Lions, did it? Didn't last time we pulled this out.
Keeps hitting generally.
Generally, yeah.
In the broader sense of the word, yeah. And yeah, that's another reason that I like to see Seahawks at +6. If that under, I would expect the under to hit more likely than not there. So +6 is a lot to cover when 2 relatively evenly matched teams, or certainly close to evenly matched teams. So yeah, that's why I'm picking that one. Any other thoughts on Seahawks Ravens before we move on?
No, all good.
No, yeah, I would just shout out. I'm probably go under as well. Just with the Ravens being the number 1 scoring defense in terms of limiting. So I think it's going to be a close, tight game.
Grand. Our next one is also Fantasy Gameday eligible. One close to a lot of our hearts. Cowboys going into Philly. Paul, go ahead.
just right, yeah. So it's Cowboys are 3-point underdogs, aren't they? +3.
They are.
Over under 47. I've convinced myself that Dallas can go win this game. I think today, really, I've convinced myself that it's the case. Based on Dallas have got a point to prove. They've kind of had one of these games already against the 49ers and just went and got bullied. So I think there's a pride thing. There's a bit around actually we need to show that we are a force to be reckoned with in the NFC. And I think I've been encouraged with how the defense has bounced back the last couple of games. So yeah, I think Dallas I think it's going to be really low scoring, and I think Dallas will come on top in like a war of attrition style game. Yeah, I mean, all the stats point to that Philadelphia will win and wipe the floor with Dallas, but sometimes I choose to believe in the stats, sometimes I don't. And then this one, I think Dallas just need a statement win. They're 5-2, but they're not in a good place at 5-2.
And then two big wins were a long time ago now.
Yeah, so yeah, I think they make a statement Sunday, go into Philly and beat the fuck out of the Eagles.
Do you know the last time Dak Prescott lost to Philly?
I don't, because he wasn't in the game where they got beat last year. It was Cooper Rush, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the 22nd of December 2019, pre-COVID. So I don't know what your stats say for that, but that's got me feeling that Dak's going to play Sunday, I hope. And Trey Lance has never lost to the Eagles, so I mean, even if Dak doesn't go, but there's no reason Dak wouldn't go. And yeah, he hasn't lost to the Eagles since 2019. The Eagles have been good since then. So
if the Cowboys get blown out in this one, though, like they did to the Niners, all hope for the season is gone.
I mean, I can see that. I'm going against myself again as well, because I wasn't going to pick Miami till they beat a good team. I wasn't going to pick Dallas against a good team until they beat one. So like you, I've also picked Dallas this week against the spread. I also kind of expect them to go in and win. Wouldn't be stunned if it's a close loss, but yeah, I think they're going to cover that spread. 3 points, that's a lot in a road matchup against the NFC champions from a year ago who've looked really good this year. Yeah, so I think Dallas have got a real good chance. Joe, what are you thinking other than laughing at me?
Yeah, I'm laughing just because I'm, not got a Cowboys hat on. Thinking realistically, not blurred. I've got the Eagles to win here. I've got this could be. I think the Eagles are going to win. I feel like it could be a blowout. I'm not guaranteeing it. I'm not confident, but I really feel like. Yeah, I feel like it's going to be how the Cowboys always are. They always beat down a team like the Rams. Everyone's, everyone said, oh, this actually could be a Super Bowl team. They're actually back. They're a great team. Best defense. Dak's going to be great. And then they play someone who's the decent. They're just like, whop, whop, whop.
Don't need to add anyone at the deadline. We're fine.
Yeah, and then it's going to melt down. And then all the people who said they were the best team are now saying they're the worst team ever. Why do we spot Dallas, etc., etc. But it could be a close game, At the end of the day, Dallas has got a great defense, and it's and actually CeeDee Lamb stepped. Well, he's had a great year, just 9 touchdowns productions. So I think you have got to target CeeDee Lamb a bit more. Ferguson had a good game. Yeah, I'll be curious because the Eagles have been one of them weird teams. I feel they've had a great year, but then they somehow, let Sam Howell go up and down for twice. 2 games. Yeah, twice. Yeah. Yes, it's just this defense is supposed to be one of the best in the league, but then you see them actually destroy teams as well with that front. So I feel like it's because they're playing the Cowboys as well. Are they gonna, they don't really need extra motivation, but sometimes
it's gonna be loud.
It's gonna be loud. It's at Dallas. Sorry, it's at Philadelphia. I think if it was at Dallas, I would have edged towards the Cowboys winning it. But I think with being at the Eagles, I'm just confident that team will just probably not play great, but win by 10. Something like that, something like how they've been doing all year. You got to give, AJ Brown, are they actually going to be able to cover him? Is Gilmore going to be able to do the job with whatever his name on IR a few weeks ago? Diggs, there you go. Is Gilmore going to be able to take him away? And then does someone have Smith have to step up? And is it Julio Jones' time to come alive and get 100 yards and 2 touchdowns?
I think a couple of keys in this one for me. I think Dallas have to find a way to run the ball. The Eagles are only giving up 60, 65 yards on the ground per game. Got to find a way to run the ball and have some success. And then I think what we might see is battle of tight ends. I think Ferguson's going to be so key for Dallas in this one. And I think Dallas will pay. I don't think Dallas will allow what AJ Brown's been doing in this last 6 games to happen. But then that opens things up. And I think that potentially that's where Dallas Goedert could have a huge game for Philadelphia.
Dallas versus Dallas. There you go.
I was bummed when Philadelphia took him in the draft just because of that reason. That's why Dallas and Dallas. Dallas does Dallas. Could be a film. But yeah, Philadelphia have only given up 3 top 24 running back fantasy performances through 8 games, which is the best in the NFL. However, on the flip side there, Dallas have only given up 3 top 24 wide receiver performances through 7 games. They also have had a bye in there. So yeah, it bodes well for potentially shutting AJ Brown down. Potentially, and in reality, very different though. And
yeah, I think one thing you've is similar to the opposite end. I think the Eagles' ground game is important as well because it feels like that's what the 49ers did. They managed to get a good ground game going, and then once you start running a team, that's when you can easily play the play action, especially Hurts as well. He can obviously scramble a lot, so I think that's what they've got to be careful of, that letting that the rush attack get going, and then suddenly one quick play action and AJ Brown streaming down for 78 yards. So I think that's really just good. I think that's the key, because that was Dallas's weaknesses last year. They tried to fix it in the summer, but the question is, have they fixed it good enough to when you're playing these great teams?
And it is a Fantasy Gameday eligible game. Who are we thinking for this one?
Yeah, I think you kind of 2 of your top price players, full stoppers, CD Lamb and AJ Brown. Weirdly, that CD Lamb's slightly more expensive than AJ Brown, given the run that he's been on. But CD at 7,300, AJ Brown at 7,100. And I think you probably it's a real interesting week because you've got a lot of the big teams are out, not playing on in the window. Bills, Bengals, Chiefs, Dolphins. So 4 of the big offenses. I think look at quarterback. So Hurts is 8-1. He's the most expensive player in this week, I believe. As the quarterback, 8-1. And Prescott, 5-9. You could build a team around Prescott and hope he has an okay day.
Yeah, just on the note of the wide receiver 2 stats, I love these kind of stats, but Philly have given up the most in the NFL wide receiver top 24 performances this year. They've given up 12. The next highest is Washington with 9. So that does indicate again that, well, I mean, CD Lamb had a career game last week. It's not like you need extra signs to focus on CD Lamb, but I think he'd be my choice to, again, especially if we do plug in a, JSN, Zach Charbonnet, an enabler type player who can let you splash out at the top. I would have no problems going Lamb and AJ Brown.
Yeah, seems sensible.
I think my choice is probably is Gamewell. Just because if the running game is going, because last week I think Swift only had 1 rush for 3 yards, and Gamewell was the main back, and I think he'd probably catch it more out in the open. I think, like you said, if Dallas is shutting down AJ Brown and the wide receivers, then what's Hurts going to do is even going to chuck it to Dallas Goedert, or he's going to chuck it to a Gamewell. So I think can't imagine him being too expensive. So I think that could be a good little shot.
Mention Goddard there again, Joe. Goddard's 4-5. So at the top of the tight end market, and Gamewell is 2,700.
And
if you want to go big, if you want to go big with your wide receivers and your quarterbacks, and that's a good second running back you can choose.
Definitely. And the over-under on this one, it's not super high, but what is it, 47. So what we're thinking on that? If we're going Lamb, we're going AJ Brown, you'd think we're going over 47?
No, I'm going to say under, because I think if Dallas, I think Dallas to win needs to keep it low scoring. I think so. If I'm going in with that path, I think I don't think a shootout works well for them. But yeah, I don't know. I think they're capable of both defenses are really, really strong, and I think they are capable of just kind of slowing things down. Still be a good game, still be a high quality game, but I think under that 47, 21, maybe a 21-17, something like that. I don't know. Something close, 24-20, but I think under the 47.
Yeah, I was thinking over, but he's just such like a tight line. Just I was looking at last year's scores, and he was 40-34 to Dallas at one point, and 26-17. So that'll be slightly under, but he's still hitting like 43, so it's still hitting the 40 mark. So if I had to choose, I'll probably go over, but it's a tight one.
I think you have to take into consideration that, Joe, for that high scoring game from last season, Gardner Minshew was playing quarterback for the Eagles.
Exactly, it's going to be even more. And I think I was
downgrade,
even looking
chaos happens when Minshew plays.
Even looking at the game before that, this season before, it's 51-26 Cowboys. So, it's been in high last.
We'll take that again.
Yeah, the good old days.
Glory. What counts as glory for a Dallas fan? Winning one game against your division rivals.
Excellent.
And we're spoiled on Sunday, so we're really going in time order here. We've got the Germany game, Seahawks Ravens in the 12 o'clock window in Central Time. I'm speaking purely for myself here. Cowboys Eagles in the mid-afternoon slate, and then finish off the day with Bills at Bengals. What a game!
This could end. I think this is probably going to be the best game of the four. I think, and that's tough because they're all four are great games. Yeah,
Bills 1.5 point underdogs. Over under of 49.5, one of the highest of the week, unsurprisingly. I think second highest of the week behind Chiefs and Dolphins. So to start with last time ball. Joe, how do you see it going?
I think this is going to be a tight affair, to be honest. I'm struggling with this one because it feels like I don't know if it's going to be one of them like great games. I think it's going to be a bit of a slog. I feel like with two teams like this who have got, good defenses, the Bills both teams have been very up and down, and especially the offense. Obviously, the Bengals had a great week last week, but the Bengals still. It feels like again, it's one of them teams similar to the Chiefs, where it feels like that. You watch the game and you're like, how they not scored, 40 points, but they're somehow, 22, 23. So I think it could be another struggle. Obviously, I've just realised when I was reading the game. Obviously, it's the Damar Hamlin game of last year.
I thought you were going to say a revenge game, but
revenge game. I wonder if there's
he gets his head off, is he, or what?
Yeah. Would have been like emotions or anything regarding that, but I think like you said, it's a good slate of games. I think we needed that Eagles Cowboys. We've only been like 3 games in the afternoon, which I hate as well. So, and it's a surprise that's not the Sunday night game, but I think this one's I don't think you can really trump this. So again, it feels like it's a playoff kind of game where these two are going to see each other again because they played in last year in the playoffs as well, and that was a disappointing game, especially from the Bills side. It feels like they just couldn't get anything going. So I think it's going to be more of a slug, a lot of close game, low 20s, both teams.
Yeah, I think this does seem like a real, this is such a close game. I think that's reflected in the I know we're only on Thursday, but so far, so you've got 48% of the money on the Bills plus 1.5, is it, Joe? Yeah. 51% of the bets, and then 52% of the money on the Bengals minus 1.5, and 49% of the bet. So public, there's no kind of steer that way. Big push to the over though. Over 49.5 is 93% of the money and 59% of the bets, which is interesting. It's these primetime games where the line. So is it +2? Apologies, Joe. When these lines are so high, we're hugely underseasoned. I think unders hitting 60% of the time so far. And if we did the numbers on the primetime games, it'd be more than that, I'm sure, because of kind of what we've seen on the primetime game. So I'm real iffy about that big number when it's a primetime game. So I'd probably likely take the under on this. And again, I think Buffalo have made the move at corner, getting Rizal Douglas in. Cincinnati's defense seems to be getting better, which is going to be important for them as they go on. So I like the under, but I really like the Bengals. I think the Bills are still a bit of a mess. They weren't convincing Thursday Night Football against the Bucs for me, and they've got problems. And I think the Bengals are just starting to get right, and maybe just about to start a run towards one of the top, one of those top seeds in the AFC.
Grant, yeah, hard to argue. Can't wait for the game though. I think it's going to be a fascinating one. 49 is a big number. 49.5 is an even bigger one. I'm picking the Bengals at home. I was pleased to see that you went with the Bills though, Joe, just because I hate when we have the all aligned, it always makes me real nervous, especially when it's like what I regard as a close-ish game. And then when we all pick the same, I'm like, oh, well, this is destined to fail. Like the Lions a few weeks ago, it's like, yeah, that's that banged.
I think it's one of the things. I picked the Bills as well because it feels like all the big games they've played, against like the big. I know they played not against Jacksonville, but that was a London game. It feels like they've like performed and beat, like they beat the Dolphins, they beat a few others. It feels like it's always the games where they feel like they should win and win easily. It feels like a struggle.
You go up against Zach Wilson and blow a game, but
yeah,
you play
exactly. Yeah, so
two like in the Dolphins, and you look like twice the team they are. So
yeah, exactly. So I just went from history and gut feeling, but see where that takes me.
And we
pretty well so far, Joe.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a season debut of Lenny Fournette coming into Buffalo. He's already complaining it's too cold. It's 48 degrees Fahrenheit. I'll let Paul or Joe translate that for our UK fans. I think like 7 Celsius.
Oh, right. So it's
that's not too bad.
Yeah, it's 8.8 Celsius. Sorry, I'm not waiting on you guys to do it. I'll do it myself. Yeah, so the message has been like, if you think this is cold,
that's glorious.
Yeah, he spent a lot of time down in Florida, though, I guess. So.
I would say anything above 0 here, it's like, hello, it's going to be a warm day today when it's winter, so you better get ready. If it's
it's freezing here, and I'm still taking the dog out in shorts. So, I'm not quite the athlete Lenny is, but although I haven't seen him since he came back from semi-retirement.
He's not in good shape.
I mean, I don't want to brag, but neither am I. I'm not in mid-season shape, let me tell you, unless it's hot dog eating season. But yeah, I'm excited to see him back. I think a bit of an indictment on James Cook, who, I mean, the amount of work 50-year-old Latavius Murray's been getting this season should also kind of tell you that. But he's a weird one, James Cook, because I always think he kind of looks okay. He looks pretty explosive. Maybe they just want someone to do that sloggy work, which is kind of what, going back to a game we've covered, but like kind of what I was like to see Dallas do with Tony Pollard, getting some real like burner work and stop chugging him up the middle. Yeah. So it might be the making of James Cook's season. It might be a real boon for their offense to have, big fat fullback just busting through the middle a little bit. No offense to Lenny.
I hope he doesn't listen to this.
I hope he does. He can come on and call me a fatty. That's fine, Lenny. I don't mind. But yeah, it's good to see him back in the league, though. I always like watching Fournette. So cover my back now. And he's certainly got that Lombardi energy. So why wouldn't Buffalo get it in the building? Yeah. It will be interesting to see how their defense steps up as well. Obviously, they've got Rasul Douglas in, but their issues are more than just cornerback. I know that is an issue. But yeah, since Milano went out, it has been issues on all fronts, really, on the D-line as well. So if Burrow looks like he did against the 49ers and that full Bengals offense does, I find it hard to see the Bills slowing them down enough, even if Josh Allen has a good game.
Going back to the divisional round in the playoffs last year, that was the problem. They couldn't get any pressure on Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
And the Bengals, that's part because they'd lost Von Miller at that point and they just had no pass rush.
Yep.
I feel like this pass rush started off the year really well for Buffalo, and I think it's just tailed off again. And that's the reverse. They've got Von Miller back now. So
but he's hardly playing, isn't he? I think he had like 5 snaps. And like I said, it's the Bills all the time, because I remember that Bengals game. It was like, the Bengals have got one of the worst offensive line. This Bills D-line is going to be able to just like eat all day, and it's going to be crazy, and then just hardly did anything. So
yeah, I think they're keeping Von Miller for December football, really, aren't they? I think that's
that's the whole.
Going back with, I think it's similar with playoff Lenny. Obviously, again, it's one of them things like you can't have enough players. Like there's going to be injuries. It's going to get cold in Buffalo. Who would you rather, like, if you're a defender, would you rather James Cook running towards you or big Lenny running towards you? You know what I mean? So probably go for that slug away. It's just like with 5 yards. And it might be one of the things, instead of when we're 5 yards out, let's not run Josh Allen. Let's run Lenny, because I think that's been a problem where they've not been running Josh Allen. So a lot of where they are getting field goals and not touchdowns because they're making an effort to not run Josh Allen. So obviously, it feels like James Cook's not doing it, in the red zone where it really matters.
And there was the issue during last week's game. Josh Allen hurt his shoulder. Mm-hmm. And it was one of my favourite bits of commentary of the season, I think, when it was Thursday night. So, Al Michaels, who's, I don't think he's enjoying Thursday nights. He seems to really be cutting loose and doesn't care if he gets fired or
He hates it.
Yeah.
He's getting rubbish games. He's used to getting really good games on Sunday Night Football most of the time.
But he's still been doing terrible, though. Like some of the commentary, I think it was the New Orleans one where it was like, "Oh, it's gone down on the 1 yard line." It's like, "Nah, mate, it's easily it's a touchdown, like the winning touchdown here. Come on."
But my favorite bit was Josh Allen hurts his shoulder, runs in a touchdown immediately afterwards, and then Al's like, "Oh, you can tell he's hurt his shoulder. He's not giving high fives on the sideline." It's like he's playing in an NFL game. If he's not able to high five, he wouldn't be like playing. Like he probably just doesn't want to give high fives because he just wants to go and sit down. Like he's in pain. I don't think it's an issue if he can't lift his arm high enough. He's throwing ropes downfield, but he can't high five. Al Michaels, from what I believe, not a medical man.
Well, he's apparently never eaten a vegetable, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with him on that one. To be fair, it's not completely out of good ideas. I mean, potatoes are a vegetable, so it's normally a issue with my wife when I go with potatoes and my vegetable of the day. But I find the rest of the hatch. Who knew? But
we promote a healthy and balanced diet here at Good Teams and Great Teams Cover.
Paul promotes a healthy diet here. Yeah. So that covers our 4 games we were focusing on. We're going to move on to our FourFold challenge, against spread picks. But first, going to make sure that everyone knows where to go and play Fantasy Gameday. Fantasy Gameday is an app for British NFL players only. It's not available in the US or Canada. It is regulated by the British Gambling Commission. Responsible gambling only. Over 18s only. Do not get your dad's phone and play on his behalf. You can enter up to 5 lineups a week for £7.50 per player. You use a promo code COVER, all capitals COVER, and you will get a free play when you deposit as part of our promo code there. Obviously, we've gone through a few of the picks there, but you get to pick a captain who'll get double points. That's obviously where you want your high-end players. Pick a quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex. It's half PPR scoring, so you want your pass catchers in there, you want your touchdown scorers, and you get 5 lineups. Top prize gets 20% of the total fund, I believe.
25% of the prize pot is shared between the winners, yeah.
25%. And you just need to put in a real high-scoring lineup. You can go a bit YOLO on it because you don't want to, match up with everybody. Maybe get your quarterback and wide receiver matching up. But crucially, go to your app store, Fantasy Gameday, put in your promo code COVER, COVER, and get yourself a free play when you deposit.
Bravo, Byron. Excellent. Well done.
Yes. And speaking of bravo,
Joe, you can cut the promo next time.
Speaking of bravo and well done, Byron and Joe, maybe we should look at the FourFold challenge. Do we have a spreadsheet? Do we have a sheet available?
We do.
Perfect, because I do not have this to hand. Alrighty, so we've already touched on the Chiefs, Dolphins, but it's your favourite of the week, Paul. And you're doing well in your favourite of the week, I think, right? You?
No. So apologies to all the Kansas City Chiefs fans out there for taking the Chiefs -1. I've not hit a favourite in the FourFold challenge since week 1, so I think I'm 7-1, 6-1.
1-7.
7-1, yeah.
1-7. 1-7. Sorry, 1-7. Yeah, let's not give.
Yeah, 1-7. Yeah, sorry. 1-7. I've not won since the Eagles beat the Patriots and covered just in week 1. Feels such a long time ago. But like the Chiefs, I'm convinced the Dolphins are frauds. Chiefs are going to bounce back this week and show us who they really, show us what a great team they really are. Chiefs to win in Frankfurt.
I like the way you say that, like the Chiefs. I think the Dolphins are frauds because unless I've missed an Andy Reid press conference, you're putting words in his mouth. I don't think he said that. But yeah, if the Chiefs are a better team, that's a real good bet. Go and show out in Frankfurt. I've gone with the Chargers at the Jets, at Jet Life, 3.5-point favourites. I just think the Chargers are a much better team. The Jets barely killed off Tommy DeVito last week. The Jets O-line is an issue. Breece Hall's still going to be one of the best backs in the game, but outside of that, I'm not too sure what else to have. Chargers showed last week they can beat bad teams with the Bears pretty easily. I think they're going to handle this without much issue. Joe didn't put a favourite in this week, it doesn't look like, so we'll move on. So, Joe, you've already said this is going to be a stamp down and a stomp down, and what was it, 30 points you said?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, guarantee. I've moved the spread. No, I was like looking at the favourites, and there was a few. There's a bit of a struggle, so I just thought, who have I got most confidence in? And I thought, the Eagles. with it just being -3, hopefully it's not a push, but I think they're going to win.
Fair enough. Yeah, we've gone in on that one, and I don't think anyone could argue too much other than people with Dallas tinted glasses on. Guilty. Our guest picker is Johnny Cruz. We'll have his picks in after our interview with him tonight. Underdogs, Paul, you have gone for the Rams and Brett Ripien going into Green Bay. 3.5 underdogs.
I'm not sure. Is Stafford definitely out?
Don't know.
Because, so
I'm just trying to undermine your pick here.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm sorry what you're doing. I think we've seen Stafford tough it out time and time again. So if there's any way he can play, he's playing. And I think, obviously, if there wasn't the injury concern, then this wouldn't be 3.5.
No. So
I'm banking that Stafford plays. If Stafford doesn't play, this is a terrible pick, but I'm banking that Stafford guts it out like he's done time and time again. And I'm guessing the public money suggests that everybody else thinks that Stafford's going to gut it out. 85% of the money, 78% of the bets are on the Rams plus 3.5. Wow. Green Bay are bad. Green Bay are really, really bad.
Just let you know, it's just moved as well. It's +3 now. So
yeah, Stafford's going to be playing. Also, just for the sharps out there, not related to this, but the under has only got 35%. Sorry, the over in this one, it's 38.5, has only got 35. Let me get my numbers right. Sorry, yes, the under has got 65% of the money on it, but it's only from 22% of the bets, which would indicate that's the sharp money. The big gamblers are on the under for this one. 38.5. I'll be on that. I like the under in this one. But yeah, Rams. I think the Rams have just got the guy. The guy I know, Puka Nacua, may be injured. Stafford may be injured, but I think Stafford plays, and just between Stafford and Cooper Kupp, they'll win this game.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to razz you a little bit on it, but I don't think it's an awful bet with Brett Ripien. I think the Packers are bad, and I think the Packers maybe need to put a couple of big performances in before the end of the season, before Matt LaFleur starts getting the was it just Aaron Rodgers treatment, and before Jordan Love gets the treatment. So
I was going to say, have you seen? I think is either the GM or the head coach, I can't remember. They've said that he's not guaranteed to be the starter next year, and he's got these 10 games to prove if he's going to be the starter. So if he carries on how it has been, then they're probably looking for a new quarterback. Kirk Cousins to the Green Bay Packers, calling it.
Ooh, the reverse Favre.
Yeah, the reverse Favre.
Love it.
It's an interesting way to kind of try and light a rocket up your starting quarterback that's only got 9 starts in the NFL. Yeah,
but he signed that contract. He signed a contract which is like it felt like it was like crap money really for like a starting quarterback. So he's got to prove it at the end of the day. Because like the first few games, it's promising, but the last few have been like it feels like been terrible. It's like it's just not being good. So if you're not good enough for one season, you're really going to be good enough the year after.
Yeah, I think it might be a bit harsh on Jordan Love to be such a built up his butt, but he's not really owed anything by Green Bay. Like, it's not his fault he went into such a bad situation to develop early, but I don't think he's shown much. I think I said a couple of weeks ago, I think he's kind of battling for his starting spot already. And if they had a competent backup, he might be seeing him already because he just really looks off. But it is hard because it is such a young team. Like, who does he lean on for, veteran experience, or who's the wide receiver or tight end in that locker room who can, who's been through the battles? There isn't one. It's a tough spot for him, but ultimately he hasn't been playing very well either. So we covered mine and Joe's picks earlier. Both gone to Seattle at Baltimore as a 6-point underdog.
Can I just? Yeah, I'll just say some more stats since we gave some pause. So on the underdog, I am 7-1 this year. So I don't think that's too bad. So yeah, and I think
that's too bad.
I think the only one I've lost was the Detroit one, the one where they got absolutely hammered. So hopefully the Ravens don't do. If the Ravens cover, then I might do a poll and say I'm never betting on the Ravens at home favourites as a bet on the other team as the underdog.
About the underdogs,
yeah.
So Joe's going to see the Ravens and be nevermore.
Yeah.
And yeah, we are still waiting on Johnny Cruz's all of his picks, so we won't touch on those. Obviously, we don't know what they are.
We're coming up in about 10 minutes' time when we move through the episode.
Well, they'll be going up. I don't know what they are at this moment. I would say though, there's a fair chance that they're going to outpick Paul. So this one's probably going to be a tick. We'll put that in there. Paul, your over is the Bucs at the Texans for 40 points.
Yeah, I didn't see this before I picked it, and I really, really should have done. Bucks road overs are 2-8 in the last 10. So I think this one could be quite a fun game. Bucks and Texans. Texans had a real drop off last week against Carolina, expecting them to bounce back. CJ Stroud has been good. He had an off week last week, but the Texans just didn't play well, full stop. So expecting them at home to bounce back. And Buccaneers against these kind of, Buccaneers, when they've played against the really good teams, have struggled. I thought actually they played really well, and Mayfield played really well in the second half last week. And against kind of, maybe not so good teams or mid teams, the Bucs have played really well. So particularly offensively. So I can see this one. Yeah, I think 40 is quite low for this. I think there's enough offensively from the Bucs. I think there's enough offensively from the Texans. We've seen the Texans at home especially can just go off. So I like over 40 on this one. 91% of the money on the over on this one.
Well, they haven't seen the 2-8 start, but it obviously means that one's obviously due to hit. Me and Joe both went over 40.5 for Washington at New England.
I'm not liking this strategy you two are putting together, by the way, of having like a couple of the same picks each week.
Mine were the first picks in of anybody, so it's not a strategy on my behalf. And Joe's winning, so why would he copy me?
But isn't this a good thing for you, like, if we both lose and you're catching both of us up? So
I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. It's got a long way to go.
Sustained effort.
So my thoughts on this one, not too complicated. Washington just gave up their two best defensive players. They've been in a lot of shootout type games anyway. They've given up the most QB1 fantasy performances on the season, given sub 7 already. No one else has given up 6 or more. Chicago have given up the next most with 5. Mentioned earlier, Philly have given up the most wide receiver top 24 games. Washington are second with 9. I'm not scared of New England's offense, but I still think Mac Jones can put up enough points against his kind of defense. And Sam Howell, balling out might be a little strong, but they've got a really good pass catching core. They're going to have to be put up points with, killing their own defense. And they've been putting up points anyway. That hasn't been the issue. I think 40 is such a low number here that I think that's, I'm not going to say easily doable. I think it was a standout pick for me, certainly.
Love Sam Howell as a Fantasy Game Day option at quarterback this week. He's 5,300. I think he was the top QB last week.
He was, yeah.
And that initial stat that you had about Washington giving up QB1 performances, is that not to Mac Jones as a Fantasy Game Day option at quarterback?
It's tough because you really need a high-scoring quarterback. So, like, if he gets 10, that's good for Mac Jones. But I would rather pay up for someone else. I think he could have a good game by Mac Jones standards. It could be his best game of the season and still not be a top 5 quarterback performance on the week. I think I don't know if we touched on it last week, but I feel real bad for Kendrick Bourne in all the Kirk Cousins of everything last week. Not much, I think, sympathy went around for Kendrick Bourne, who's having another really good year. And he's always unheralded, I think, wherever he's been in his career. And he's been playing as their best wide receiver. I think Demario Douglas will see an increased snaps. And obviously, he's a rookie wide receiver who's small, fast. So I'm obviously all in on Demario Douglas, my new Marvin Mims. But yeah, I don't know if I'd go Mac Jones in Fantasy Game Day, but it's certainly appealing if you want to go full, stack everything else. I can see it. Joe, you any other thoughts on this game?
Oh yeah, all the reasons you chose, I did all this stuff. No, I think like you said, Sam Howell's balling. I think the Patriots defense is not, it's a good defense, but it's not amazing. Like, there was a slight worry. I hope they don't have like the game like they did against the Giants, where they just absolutely just went to shit and basically only got 7 points. I think I backed it over that point as well. But yeah, and I just like you said, with Washington losing the best, well, at least 2 of the best 3 on the defensive line, it's going to give the Patriots a bit more freedom. And they've been putting up like if they put up 20, I hope Washington should put up around 20 as well, and being 40.5. And it was tricky this week because it felt like a lot of the games there were some like really low ones, but against 2 bad scoring teams, or the other ones are really high. And I was like, is it really going to be that high for them once? It was like trying to get the best of both worlds, and I think this is it.
Don't know what they're doing in Vegas.
Exactly.
Our unders, Paul starts off with Clayton Tune, I believe, is going to be starting for the Cardinals at Cleveland Browns, under 37.5.
And that's the reason.
More? Yeah,
that's the reason why this. Look, when you just imagine the reaction of Myles Garrett and co. when they got the news that Clayton Tune was going to be playing, like licking the lips, rubbing the hands, stat padding, The poor lad, I feel so sorry for him. He's going to get absolutely killed. Have we seen a decapitation on the NFL field before? Because it might happen this week. I know the Cardinals have had to trade away Josh Dobbs to get something for him, all that jazz. You're putting this kid in an awful situation with how good this Browns defense is. Yeah, I'm very worried for his health. And also, I think Arizona, this could be 2-0, and Cleveland could win. Cleveland's offense hasn't got a lot of great output. I don't see them being able to kind of score late 30s, even with Watson back. He's been out for a few weeks, so he's probably going to be a bit crap anyway. Just a real comfortable Cleveland win for me, and under 38. I just don't see how the Cardinals really do anything with Clayton Tune.
I mean, if you're going to see a decapitation, Myles Garrett might get that helmet off again and go swinging. It's the closest we've came, I would think, in the NFL.
I guess so. Yeah,
trying to take Mason Rudolph's noggin off.
Now, though.
Everyone's reformed until they swing a helmet. You can do all that good in your life. You swing one helmet as someone's exposed head, and you're suddenly a bad guy.
Which Steelers backup quarterback was it? I always forget. Wasn't Duck Hodges, was it? It was the other
I think
one.
It was Mason Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Duck Hodges would have just flown away. The Browns are plus 1,400 to win with a shutout, if you're interested in such a market. And I could see why you would be. They are plus 400 to win the first half to 0. Well, not even to win the first half. It could be 0-0. Oh, no, it is to win, with a shutout.
They have been scrappy, right, the Cardinals, but...
Yeah, they have been. I think they've been getting a bit less scrappy as time's gone on as well. Like, I know they came back against Baltimore last week, but it felt like Baltimore just willed them to come back in that game. It was more of a discredit to Baltimore than credit to Arizona, in my opinion. Maybe a bit harsh, but that's how I seen the game.
Oh, I agree.
So my under... Sorry, you go ahead, Joe.
I was going to say, any fantasy game day? Like, you thinking Ford or Hunt or even Amari Cooper?
Ford seems a little bit injured still. It's possibly Cooper, I think could be a good shout. But I don't know, because Ford did play last week, but barely got touched, did he? Because he's still kind of recovering from that. Hunt's been good from a fantasy game day perspective because the price he's been as well. Yeah. We had him in last week. He got, he does tend to get the goal line touches. The Browns are in other situations where I felt they were going to give him the ball and he had chances. They would have had chances to score, but they opted for different. But he's 4,500 in Fantasy Gameday. That's up from last week. But he still got 15 touches. And as long as he gets in the end zone, which he has done in 3 consecutive games now, he's worth it. And I think he's a pretty difficult runner to stop inside that 5-yard line.
Yeah. And just a shout out, Paul, you are 6-2 on the unders, so I'll give you your props there. So it's like half of your wins have been for unders.
Oh, that's such a bad record, isn't it? 12-19. So bad. Turn it around this week. That's the start.
But I would also say that everyone else has at least got 6 unders as well. So
do you need to share that?
Gives with one hand, takes with the other.
Exactly.
The Joe approach. I've gone with the Tyson Bagent experience going to New Orleans. 41 points. The Saints defense, I think, is pretty good. Unless the Saints blow this game out, which they could well do, I think this is going to be a pretty close that under. I found it a bit hard to get. I should have just went. You made a real good point for the Cardinals Browns there, to be fair. My kind of worry was the Browns run away with it too much. But I just think the Saints are going to shut that attack down pretty easily. And maybe 24-10 kind of game, maybe 27-10. If I keep going up there, I'm going to get over 41. So I'll leave it at 27-10, maybe 27-13 at an absolute push.
It's interesting because I think the Saints are starting to get something going offensively. And I think the Saints could score 40-plus points themselves because the Bears are that bad. The over, 87% of the money, 83% of the bets are on the over for this one. So you're going against.
Happy to. Always happy to. Can't trust the public. And I think the Bears will want to make this a sluggy game as well. They obviously just added Montez Sweat, so their defense is rapidly improved. They didn't lose their cornerback. So, that's the one I went with. Found it a toughish one to pick the under this week compared to the over. But, Bears at Saints.
Have you seen what Sweat said I think it was yesterday or today. I
He
think
wants
like
to
the
weigh
Bears,
up options or something. Is that
the GM was like, yeah, we've got him in to make see if we can we'll have the upper hand, and he was like, oh yeah, I'm going to weigh my options and see what happens. It feels like he's just going to leave at the end of the year, and the Bears have just lost into the second rounder for no reason.
Yeah, I mean they'll probably franchise tag him, but it's the ultimate hi, here is 100% of the leverage, Montez. Please don't use it. And the player just goes, oh yeah, I'm going to use my leverage. Thank you. I want paid as much as I can possibly get. You are brain dead.
It feels like a real dumb move, doesn't it?
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a franchise tag at the end when you've got it's going to cost you it's going to cost you way more than you'd get anyway. It's just dumb.
And
Ryan Poles needs to get fired.
Yeah, and I've seen Bears fans struggling, with coping with it in Twitter and X, and it's like, well, we've got the money. It's like, so just go and bid for him in the free agency. Players will go where the money is. Yeah. You don't need to win games now. If anything, it's going to hurt your stock. You want that number one pick. They're a very weirdly and terribly run organization. They're getting close to, I think, there's probably a couple of others that come to mind, but they must be one of the worst run organizations in football. They're just aimless.
I think I saw someone lost smarter than us. Can't remember who it was now. He said what they should have done is when they did the trade, they should have done a contract then saying, do the trade, and here's a contract.
This is a contingent on this being signed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not difficult. It's negligence to the city of Chicago and the team of Chicago to be doing this. There's no accountability for it though. It's the same organization who around this time gave a second round pick for Chase Claypool, and they gave their own second round pick for Chase Claypool. They had Baltimore's from the Roquan Swift deal. They just bad decision after bad decision. And does anyone feel confident they're going to make the right decision on quarterback? No. They might keep Justin Fields.
There's no way they can keep Justin Fields now. Surely not.
I just don't know what they'll do. Why didn't they just try and trade him in the deadline then? Just play Tyson Bagent the rest of the season and get rid of Justin Fields now.
I think if they get rid of Justin Fields, I think Justin Fields is bounced from the NFL. Why was anybody else going to take him?
Someone will take him.
Have you seen the quarterbacks that are playing this week?
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Justin Fields has got physical abilities and has been given some of the worst coaching in the NFL for 3-4 years.
There'll be someone we've got an offensive guru who can turn it around.
And they might.
Yeah.
Patriots. He might not be a top 10 quarterback ever. Probably not. But could he be an NFL quarterback? Certainly. We've gone a long time on the Bears at Saints here, though.
No, we have too much Bears talk on this show.
Yeah. So, Joe, you have gone the under on Chargers at Jets.
Yeah, I think you mentioned before, the Jets couldn't score much on the Giants, and I think it's Chargers' strength versus Jets' strength, and then vice versa. It's Jets' weakness versus Chargers' weakness. So I think it's going to be. I still think the Chargers are going to win, but I think it's going to be something like 21-3, 21-6.
Yeah.
So I'm beating with 40. Fairly confident with that. I think, you mentioned with yours, I think the only worry is if the Chargers just start getting on a roll. But I feel like the Jets' defense is good enough to hold them, especially below 30, and then I can't see Zach Wilson doing much.
To support your pick, Joe, the Jets as a home underdog in their last 5. The under hits 4-1, has hit 4-1 in the Jets' last 5 as a home underdog.
There you go.
I said to support your pick. Zach Wilson is playing, but both good data points there to support your pick. So that takes us on to our against the spread competition. I'm not sure how many games we haven't touched on already here, but
we've covered quite a lot, haven't we? It's been breadth of picks, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Hoping the sheet will update itself here. I don't have the button to press.
You have to click the screen.
There you go.
Perfect. So Thursday Night Football may have happened by the time you've listened to this, and we might all be going, Paul, what have you done? Pick Tennessee. But Mike Vrabel is an underdog, so of course Paul has picked Tennessee +3. Me and Joe have gone Pittsburgh. Kenny Pickett's playing. I think Will Levis, short week. Could be a bit of a rough awakening. I don't have much faith in this one, I must be honest. I will be betting and will have bet by the time you're probably listening to this. Both defenses score a touchdown. It's probably going to be my fun little prop of the night.
Who's Charlie picking? Have you done that yet?
I haven't recorded it yet, but he's here and he's looking eager. So I've got his signs ready to go. But I'm recording that as soon as we finish. So yeah, that'll be going up on our TikTok, GTC_GTW.
Have you told him Yeah, have you told him that Paul's picked the Titans, yeah? Because last week he went with Paul and his own one.
Yeah, don't ride the week out there.
He did give me a look when you said that, so I think he's moving to Pittsburgh sides now.
Yeah. I really like the Titans in this one. Again, for the aforementioned Vrabel as an underdog, but yes, the Steelers' defense is going to be much more of a test for Will Levis than the Atlanta defense was last week. But the Steelers are so bad on offense that they can't really take advantage of the defensive stuff. So I've gone with the Titans. I think the Titans are going to win the game outright. I thought it was plus 2.5, actually. I didn't obviously read the sheet properly, but at plus 3, I like it even more. I think it's going to be a real close game. Low scoring, under at 37 is horrible, but I like the under, but I really think the Titans can win this one outright and start turning things around a little bit.
We'll see. Joe, you any strong feelings on the Steelers for this one, or just?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure I picked the Steelers, to be honest. It just feels like the defense against a rookie quarterback, then it feels like that normally comes out on top.
Yeah, I thought you'd have some stats for Mike Tomlin versus rookie quarterbacks, but I don't have any. It just feels like something that he'd do well with, but I don't have any stats to back that up. That is pure speculation. We've touched on the Germany game. I picked the Dolphins. Paul and Joe picked Kansas as 1-point favorites. Me and Paul went Cleveland with an 8-point handicap disadvantage against Arizona. Joe, you've gone the Cardinals going into Cleveland with an 8-point start.
Yeah, this was another gut feeling, which I probably regret. It's just 8 points is a lot when it feels like the Cardinals have kept it close. I know Deshaun Watson might be playing, but it's not like he's done anything this year. And if PJ Walker plays, he's been playing well, but I always think them quarterbacks, they usually come down on it's like an early game and say, PJ Walker's thrown 3 interceptions and they've only beat the Cardinals by 3. So I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but I still think the Cardinals could get some points. I know they've got the new quarterback, but if Dobbs can get some points with this team, I'm sure a rookie might be able to as well. So I think it's going to be Cleveland could win it by 7, but it's just the 8 feels quite a lot. Yeah,
see that certainly. Cleveland's offense hasn't been singing. Chicago plus 8.5 going to New Orleans. Kind of touched on this. I'm the only one who went with Chicago.
Still riding with the Bears.
I mean, 8.5 points I was kind of stunned to see, I must be honest. I think it's going to be an under, as I said. So when it's 8.5 points and I favour the under in the game, I think the two kind of lend to go hand in hand, really. So that's kind of it. I don't really expect the Bears to win. That would be a big ask, but I don't think it's out of the realm that they keep it to a touchdown. So it's kind of just, I think it's going to be an ugly-ish game. Back in the under as my pick of the week.
Shaheed for Fantasy Gameday.
Yeah. I'm huge for Shaheed. Sorry. I'll stop butchering your name. Just a huge performance last week. And he only, if he catches 2 passes, it's 70-odd yards, 80 yards because the routes he runs. So, it is very much boom or bust because he could also just get nothing. But, Cast seems to be trusting him a lot more. And it's just, obviously, the instructions are just run as fast as you can down the field. Pretty much. Seems to be working.
Yeah, it works for them, so go with it, yeah. Joey, any other feelings on the game? Or
I just think being in New Orleans, I think the Saints might get a bit of a run. And, with the Bears, I think 2 weeks ago you went the Bears and hit. Then me and Paul went on the Bears last week and missed. We should be trusting Byron a bit more with where to go with the Bears. So we'll see what
on the
happens
ground in Chicago.
Exactly. Just heard some stuff.
I mean, but the amount of firings that are being done for weird reasons, there's plenty of stuff to hear, I think, in this area.
Can you go investigate that, please, as you're there?
I'll do my best. Not sure I'll be reporting it online, though. Might be an offline conversation, from what I understand.
That's cool. That'll do for me.
We covered Rams, obviously, your pick of the week, Paul, as your underdog. Me and Joe went Packers. Not one I love, I must say. Just got to think the Packers have got to get a win somewhere. If it is Brett Ripien, it's a chance to do so. It's a home game, traveling across country. No real strong. I won't be betting on the Packers and the -3.5 certainly, but we pick a game on all of them. So even if you don't have a strong feeling, you still pick it. Joe, have you any strong feelings on the Packers or?
I'm just similar. I thought Stafford was out, so if obviously Stafford's playing, I'm sure that would flip if Stafford starts playing.
Yeah, I think it might be 1 point maybe, or yeah.
But I think similar to you, I think I think Green Bay are going to end up winning some games, and even though the Rams started well, it feels like the last few games they've not played the best. So I think it's to be a scrappy game, and if Stafford's not playing, then I can see Packers winning by a touchdown.
Yeah, one of the games we haven't touched on at all yet, I don't think. Jaron Hall versus Taylor Heineke. As Minnesota 5-point underdogs go to Atlanta. Me and Joel went with Atlanta. Paul, you've gone with Jaron Hall.
I was going to say, just let you know, the line's moved to +4 now. So obviously people are starting putting some money on the Vikings.
Yeah.
People going Hall in.
For this one, I thought you hosting may have been like we might have saw a reduction in the puns, but no, we haven't. Just try something else, Joe. Yeah, I think this is a rally round sort of game for Minnesota. Defense maybe steps up a little bit, and they just find a way to get some offensive production without Kirk Cousins. I think they found a bit of a running game the last couple of weeks, and again, I need to lean on that massively, I think, in this one. And I can't in good faith pick Atlanta to cover 5 points, but they're terrible at home as a home favorite. As a home favorite, the 3-7 in the last 10 is a home favorite against the spread. Yeah, they do win a lot of those games, but they don't cover them. So I think actually Minnesota can win the game outright, which would obviously be a surprise. But if they can and nick this one, potentially big for if you talk about a wild card split tiebreaker further in the season, and then they've got Josh Dobbs when they might get some stable quarterback play. If he can do what he did for Arizona in Minnesota with more options and more weapons, then I think they could finish the season pretty well.
Grant,
just shout out now. The Vikings are the. Sorry, I think I froze a bit there. The Vikings now are the longest. The team with the longest amount of time not winning a championship from the Big Four sports in America, with the Texan Rangers winning yesterday.
Wow.
Series, yeah.
Shout out baseball.
So, yeah, and shout out to Vikings fans for still spotting them.
For now, yeah. See what Sunday brings. Might change the tune when they lose to Taylor Heineke. Although if they've gone this long.
At least he's fun. Taylor
He
Heineke
is fun. Yeah, I like him.
Yeah.
Fun to watch. Gutsy.
Reckless.
Yeah, that's what I want to see. He's not on my team. Dive into everything all the time. That's what I want to see. I don't have much of a strong take. I just think Heineke has a level of competence. Jaron Hall's 5th-round rookie. No Justin Jefferson. I wasn't big on the Vikings at any point in the season until like the last week when Kirk did his Achilles, I guess, ironically, kind of. I finally believe in them, and they come down. So I don't trust their defense. 5 points is a lot. It's kind of obviously I'd prefer this a little less, but I just think the Falcons will take care of business in the building. Seattle, Baltimore, we've covered. Joe, did you have any thoughts there? Sorry, Falcons to back.
I think it's just the quarterback, and the Falcons defense have actually played pretty well this year, so I just trust them at home with a new quarterback who slings it a bit more. If they get the lead, then they're probably not gonna relinquish it. But it would have been nice if it was +4 when we put this on. It would have been a little bit nicer. But
and I think the Falcons defense as well have played well against. It feels obvious, but they played well against bad quarterbacks, like an inexperienced quarterbacks. They made a fool of Bryce Young in his debut. This is Jaron Hall's first action. Falcons defense might be one of my bets of the week as well. I always like to find a long shot touchdown scorer somewhere. If I have to bet every defense in the league to do it, I'm sure I'll find one. Seahawks, Baltimore, we've touched on plenty. Buccaneers 2.5 at Houston. I'm surprised I was the only person to take Houston in this one. I think Texans are a much better team than the Bucs, but I mean the Bucs have been really competitive and have played above what I think is their level this year. So maybe not. And the Texans are came off the bye week with their worst performance of the season. So maybe I'm just resting too much on laurels of earlier in the season for the Texans. I think it's a big game for Stroud and the Texans to just show that they are getting back on track. But I think across the board, mostly, I think they're a better team than the Bucs. It is in their own building. Yeah, it's one of my favorites of the week, this, I think. So I'm kind of surprised I'm the only person on it. So
yeah, I think what's interesting for me, Texans are 2-8 against the spread as a home favorite in the last 10.
Yeah.
I really like the Buccaneers to win this game.
I wonder how many of those have been under coaches that were one and done, though. Well, how long does that go back? Because
not as far as you think. Because I thought
they're in a terrible division, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was looking at it, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be way back. This is going to be into Deshaun Watson games and stuff like that."
Yeah.
I suppose it's over the last 4 years. So
yeah, I was kind of expecting longer, but then they're probably a home favorite at least twice a year, just in their own division, and then they probably play a few bad teams at home a year as well. So yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Joe, Paul, anything strong on the Bucs, or you just fancy them in a 2.5 point head start?
Yeah, I think it's going to be super close and 2.5 points, and I think the Buccaneers have played well, and they've played well against teams who are not so great, and I feel like the Texans are still a very young team and still going to be a lot of ups and downs. Obviously, last week there was a down. I think they might go on a run. They might lose a couple, but then win a couple. And I just think, and I think Tampa Bay's defense is good enough to hold them down, and then it's just can Baker hit Evans and Goodwin for a few long touchdowns. So I went with Tampa Bay, and I didn't want Paul to be upset that we picked 4 games in a row against him. So
yeah, I feel like this. It's not my strategy. These are just the games that I think. But yeah, I suppose it's if it was, I need to try and find a way to catch up, right? But yeah, I'm a real strong feeling. I really like Rams, Vikings to cover, Ravens and Bucs. I'm real strong on those. Are the stronger feelings I have on games this week.
And Washington going to New England. We all went Washington +3. I was
plus points. Yeah,
I was surprised we all went with it with the defensive subtractions the Commanders made in the week. Always get I know our numbers aren't bad on it, but I always get a little nervous when we all pick a team, especially when it's a game that's like 2 not very good teams. I don't have a huge strong feeling for it. It's +3 points, and I think they're pretty evenly matched teams. Anyone got any stronger feelings than that?
No, just take the field goal, take the points. 72% of the money is on Washington. The fact that it's the full 3 made it for me. I think it was if it was a little light, if it was 1.5, for example, I might go on Patriots. I don't know, but yeah, they're just Sam Howell's going to win this game and all out again. I think
it was when I first saw this, I thought, it's -3 Washington. Okay, that makes sense. And then when I was like, they're actually +3. Okay, yeah, I'll stick with my pick with the Commanders. But yeah, this was like a flip flop where I was like, could go either way. I'm curious when we all go on the underdog, what actually record is. I'd be curious to find out. But
I'm sure someone will put a stat sheet for us together.
Some loser.
That's on you. Yeah. That's on me. Can't you lose? I'm just
I was.
Yeah.
Speaking of people that you will call a loser, Paul, Frank Reich revenge game. Indy 2.5 point favorites going into Carolina. And so just gone with Coach of the Year, Frank Reich.
Just to be clear, there's not a single part of why I picked Carolina has anything to do with Frank Reich. I think it's a close game. I'll take the points. Home underdog. They got the win last week and did play better. I thought Bryce did okay last week. And
I agree.
And I think this Colts defense is potentially another one where they give up a lot. And they give up 38 points to the Saints last week. I think they give up 28 points a game or 29 points a game. I think the Panthers have had their offensive struggles, but I think Bryce Young's had a good performance. They'll back it up. I think Adam Thielen will potentially have another big game because he's just been having big game after big game.
Feeling for Fantasy Gameday?
Yeah, I think good shout Adam Thielen for Fantasy Gameday this week. He's getting targeted. I think it's 4 or 5 games in a row. He's had 10 plus targets. One of them was with Andy Dalton game, but really like Adam Thielen, and his price is reflecting actually that he's probably gonna be a big week. I think he's over 5,300, which I'm pretty sure would be his biggest price on Fantasy Game Day so far. But he's had in his last sort of 5 games, 11 targets, 13 targets, 13 targets, 8 targets, 14 targets. That's not going to stop all of a sudden. And he's already had 3 100-yard games, and he's got 4 touchdowns on the season. So, I really like him for Fantasy Game Day.
Grant, Joe, you any strong vibes on the Colts pick?
I just feel like the Colts are the better team. Even with Minshew in there. I've got a feeling this is going to be a high-scoring game, similar to how a few indie games have gone. I did pick him the over just because Carolina's defense actually stepped up last week, which was it felt like the first time this year. So, I feel like if the Carolina defense doesn't step up, then can Bryce Young actually put 30 on a team? I'm not quite convinced yet, because even though he played well last week, it's not like he scored loads. But I can see this being a high-scoring game where Indy scores like 30 plus, and then Carolina gets around 20. So
Carolina also give up 28 points a game as well, so it wasn't just Dick Indy, but I just think maybe because I don't think they'll end with 1 win. And looking at their schedule, this is another one of those games that they could win, Carolina. So that's kind of why I've leaned to them. Using
my method, Paul. There, go with the gut.
More gut feeling this one than stat based.
And I kind of just feel the same about Indy. I think their offense is really putting up points even when they're losing. So I think it's more likely the Panthers struggle to keep up with that than.
Do you actually know who's scoring the fantasy points and whatnot for Indy? Because it feels like they haven't got
Josh Downs is catching every ball.
Downs, okay. So again, he's gone, especially in the last few games. I mean, his last 4 games, he's gone for 97 yards, 21, 125, and 72 yards. Pittman as well. He's not really getting the volume of targets, but he's tending to break at least 1 big play a game at the minute. He's back-to-back touchdowns in games. He was targeted 13 times last week. He only went for 40 yards and a touchdown, but it feels like they're getting him more involved after kind of he spoke up about it. And I think Jonathan Taylor's a good shout as well this week for Fantasy Game Day too, as well as already previously mentioned Adam Thielen. He's £5,700, but it felt like they got the ball. He had 12 and 18 carries in his last 2 games. Fully expect him to be, kind of won't going to see too much of Zach Moss now, I wouldn't have thought. And Taylor could have a big game against Carolina.
Grant. Dallas, Philly, we've covered plenty. Joe, obviously picking the Eagles. Me and Paul picking Dallas. And we've all gone for another team, which I'm kind of stunned by. We have all picked Las Vegas Raiders with a -1.5 against the Giants. What a damning indictment on the Giants. Everybody gets fired from Vegas.
Can I ask? I'm curious if it's the same reason, but did you see the new head coach's press conference?
No.
Antonio Pierce. No.
Antonio Pierce. The press conference is awesome, and that's why I chose it. He's a player's kind of coach. Apparently, he was on the New York Giants back in the day with their Super Bowl, and a lot of Osim Unyora said he was the smartest player he's ever played with. He's from Compton, so he's Raiders through and through. And his press conference was like you'd run through a brick wall for him. Nice. So I was like, this is the kind of guy who you want for the Raiders, and I feel like the players are going to positively take that, and I feel like the especially at home beat the Giants with Danny DeVito's son.
My sole reason for picking the Raiders was the interim head coach bump. They're going to get at least 1 win, and the Giants are a mess. I don't know, is Danny Dimes going to play? Is it the case that we're going to get Jones back? Or
he has practiced, but it seems a little up in the air. If I was picking right now, I think it will be DeVito.
But I don't know. Things about I'm sure I saw some of the days like it might be out for the year at some point, and I was like, it's like
very confusing
everywhere. Yeah, just tell us if he's playing or not.
Really, you're not getting that much of an advantage keeping it a secret. Either way, it's a great Danny who's going to be a quarterback, Dimes or DeVito. I don't really have much. I didn't know about the press conference. I just kind of figure it's kind of the interim head coach thing, and also just like cleansing yourself of McDaniels. Just like that entire experience is now gone. He can't hurt you anymore.
The bad man can't hurt you anymore.
Yeah, he can't get to you now. Aidan O'Connell had a good preseason. We'll see what he can bring to the full game. But, I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo looks absolutely washed. Brian Hoyer is absolutely washed. So why not? You're going nowhere else, Vegas. Give him a rest of the season. See what you have there. Why not?
Why not roll the dice?
Obviously, Sunday Night Football we've covered pretty well. Me and Paul going with the Bengals -1.5. Joe +1.5 on the Bills. And then Monday Night Football is in JetLife Stadium. We've got the Chargers -3.5. Me and Joe have gone with the Chargers. Paul, you've gone with the Jets.
Yes, I've gone with the New York Football Jets. I know Joe's looking at that. It's definitely the Jets on the sheet. I've gone with the Jets, and I think this is more. I think again, Joe mentioned it earlier, strength on strength. I think that the Jets can really slow down this Chargers offense. I know offensively they are very, very good, but I think the Jets can absolutely slow them down, make it kind of that war of attrition game. And I don't think the Chargers fare too well in that kind of game, which is why I've gone for the Jets. Jets as well, mentioned the understat earlier for the Jets. The Jets as a home underdog of 4-1 against the spread in the last 5 as a home dog. Really like the Jets to cover. Really like the Jets to actually just win the game outright. I think the Jets, as much as the problems they've got offensively, looking putrid at times, I think the Jets really I've got a really good shot at this wildcard playoff spot. And to do that, I think, again, this is another one that will be key down the line. This could be a tiebreaker game, depending where kind of both teams end up for the playoffs. And yeah, I'm JETS Jets. They're going to win the game outright.
Outright. Very, very bold. And to be fair, though, I mean, for what you're saying, the Jets are the 4-3 team in this game. The Chargers are 3-4. Like, it's not, completely unheralded or completely ridiculous. That is kind of important to remember, I think. The idea of the Zach Wilson team being 5-3 makes me a little uneasy, I must say. But I think I've laid out my reasons for the Chargers. I just believe in them as a team. I think they've kind of turned a corner. We will see if they have, obviously. Josh Palmer will be a week fitter. He had a bit of an off week last week when he wasn't needed against the Bears. But, yeah, we'll see. Joe, have you any strong feelings on the Chargers here, or you just...
Well, the fact that I put Chargers for Paul, I just assumed that he would be picking them. But, it's how Paul's years ago. I'm similar. I just think... I do agree. I think that's obviously I picked him the under, but I still think the Chargers are going to have enough to at least score a good amount of points against this Jets defense, like good enough to beat, Zach Wilson, vice versa. So I think, like I said before, I think it's going to be. So I'm going to guess 23-6. There you go, 23-6.
You're just trying to work out your under there, yeah.
Yeah.
Under 29.5. That could be a good alternate spread if you alternate line under 29.5. I'm sure you get a good price on that.
This isn't an Iowa football college game. Come on.
No idea what that means, but zing to Iowa.
Yeah.
It's that game where it was like the 32-point spread the other week. Yeah.
And Grant, that covers all our against spread picks, our FourFold challenge. All we have to really do is say, welcome to Johnny Cruz for his picks. And thanks, guys, for your time this week. It's been a good one.
All right. Well, I'm going to stay on and speak to Johnny Cruz, but see you guys later.
Cool. And as always, get your Fantasy Gameday app downloaded. Promo code COVER, as always. Get yourself a free play when you deposit.
Cool. Thanks to Byron there for doing such a good job hosting this week's first part of this week's episode. We're into our guest picker segment, which is sponsored by the guys at Fantasy Gameday. Appreciate the guys. It's the UK's only daily NFL fantasy game. It started this season. It's been absolutely incredible. So join, if you're not playing already, join us. We're playing and winning sometimes, but plenty of people are playing and winning. Go download the app now from your Apple App Store, your Google Play Store. Enter a lineup and make sure you deposit when you register. You use promo code COVER, all in capital letters. You will get a free game after you've deposited and played your first lineup. Build your team. Top 20% of lineups win a cash prize. We had the winners walking away with over £130 this week, and the prize pot was over £1,000. That's only going to get bigger. Get involved. Please remember it's for 18 years and above. UK only. Please gamble responsibly. Go download Fantasy Game Day now. I'm joined by Johnny Cruz. Welcome back to Good Teams Win Great Teams Cover. Johnny, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm happy to be back with you, Paul. It's always fun talking to you, and especially to come on the show here and see if I could push my luck here and win some, get some winners here. I hear it's pretty difficult to go 4-0 for the guests, so I need to try and represent right here.
Yeah, the guests we've had mixed fortunes, but yeah, certainly 4-0 is the elusive one. Also, we haven't had a guest go 0-4 either. I've gone 0-4 a couple of times.
I definitely don't want that title.
Yeah, that'd be more infamous, I suppose. But yeah, you definitely don't want to be the first person to do that. We're going to talk a lot of stuff. So we're going to have absolutely a bit of chat about your Miami Dolphins as well. A huge game this week. But Johnny, look, a lot of the people that watch our show and have tuned in are familiar with the LTS network. Some aren't. So yeah, where can we find you and what have you got coming up?
Well, I mean, you can follow me on X. Excuse me. I'm at the Yankee Fin on all social media platforms. You can find me at the Yankee Fin. Yeah, I'm all over the Let's Talk Sports Network. Shout out to the one and only Mr. Dan Harris. But yeah, I got the Let's Talk Miami Dolphins Aqua and Orange Insight Show where me and my boy Alex. You can follow him at TX_TSB. We every Monday 7:00. Talk all things Miami Dolphins, recap the game from the week before, and preview the next one. Every Monday and Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. It's the LTS show. It's the flagship show of the LTS network. Myself, Tanner Dawson, Nick Botkins, Scott Kolb, and of course, Mr. First Down, Sam Dean, are all on that show. And then on every Sunday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Time again. It's our NFL Sunday pregame show with the same cast there, and you know what I'm saying, we have some fun, talking sports, throughout the week. Sunday, of course, is more NFL football, and then I do the recap show with Nick Botkins Sunday nights at 7:00, and then if I'm able to stay up late enough, I'm on for the Sunday night late roundup show after the Sunday night game with my friend. A big time on Let's Talk Sports, Mr. Rob Logan. You can follow him at Logan Sports. But yeah, I'm all over LTS, so you can find me all over there.
Cool, good stuff. Yeah, plenty of great content. Yeah, I mean, all the shows are great. Like the Let's Talk Sports is a staple now of Let's Talk Sports shows. Staple Let's Talk Sports, you say, the flagship, and it's been fantastic. So yeah, keep on keeping on with that.
It's absolutely a lot of fun, man. I'm glad Dan put us together. He wanted the five of us to have a show, and it's been a total blast, man. I'm honored to be part of it.
Yeah, it's a fantastic show. Make sure you go check it out. Good stuff. And it will be on, not too long after we've been recording.
Yeah, I'll be on, 9:00 Eastern Time tonight.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm going to preview Thursday Night Football, no doubt, which should be an interesting one. Let's talk about your Miami Dolphins, Johnny. Look, I'm not using this word to describe them, but some in the media have been using the F word, that they may be frauds. How are you feeling so far with kind of how the season's gone? And obviously, it's a huge game in Germany, over in Frankfurt this week against the Chiefs.
Well, I'm excited about the opportunity for the Dolphins to once again go up against a good contending team so that they can kind of get away from that narrative of the frauds. I think frauds is a bit strong, but I understand the narrative. They haven't beaten any really good teams. They call them cupcakes. The teams that we've beaten, although some of those cupcakes that we have destroyed have beaten some other people. But I digress on that one. But no, I'm excited for the opportunity. I don't listen too much to the national media. They always seem to have some type of issue. Tua, for some reason, once he got drafted out of Alabama, has just been a lightning rod of negativity. You either love him or you hate him for some reason. I don't understand that. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about this team. I love Mike McDaniel and the way he coaches this team, his offensive mind. I still gotta kind of pinch myself to wake up. So that Tyreek Hill and Jalen Ramsey are actually Miami Dolphins. So it's an exciting time. We just got Jalen Ramsey back for the first game this past week against New England. So I'm excited about it. Guys are starting to get healthy. And this is a big game right here, which could have playoff seeding implications. So it's a big game. And again, it's another point where we can see where we stand as far as the rest of the competition.
Yeah, it's a huge test, isn't it? And I think maybe a little, not a little bit of a break. That's the way it works, right? Everybody's got to give up a home game at some point and play in the UK and or Germany. But I think maybe a plus point that this is in Frankfurt, Germany, and not Kansas City. for Miami. Yeah, it's the third test, isn't it? The first two, as we kind of touched on, kind of didn't go so well, but this one feels like it could be different.
It does, but these are the Kansas City Chiefs, and that is Patrick Mahomes. So it's hard to. I mean, I feel good about the team's chances of putting up a good game and coming out of Frankfurt with a W. My main thing is to go down swinging, make it a competitive game, fight with them. You know what I'm saying, as much as you possibly can. Obviously the Buffalo game was that it went back and forth the first couple series, and then it just got away from the Dolphins, and then Buffalo just completely dominated them the rest of the game. Philly felt a little more competitive. I think our defense is finally starting to come together, and they really came to play that game against Philly. I know it ended up being a 14-point win for Philly, but if you actually watch that game, it was a lot closer than that. Of course, it was the notorious, Philly didn't get one penalty called on them in the entire game. So if you watch the tape of that game, there's some flagrant calls that were missed, but it is what it is. You can't blame the officials. We have an issue with the real big physical fronts as far as going up against our offense. I don't like using the finesse word because that just seems like a negative word, but we are a speed team. So it's not so much a power team. But I think we can be physical at times. We lead the league in rushing, although I know a lot of it was, Achane in the beginning with a lot of his big runs and stuff, but we've shown the ability to run the ball. If we can be physical with the other team and not get dominated in the trenches, I think we can compete with anybody in the league. And of course, when you have Tyreek, Waddle, and all the speed out there, if we can keep Tua upright, I think we have a chance to beat anybody.
And that's been a big difference this year compared to last season. Is I think they're getting the ball out even quicker. Mm-hmm. They're not letting Tua's not getting beat up back there, which was the cause of obviously some time that he missed last year. I think they've rectified a lot of that. And there's got to be, I suppose, there's a way. And look, if anybody can do it, I think Mike McDaniel can around working a way to kind of beat these teams that may be a little bit more physical to do it. And we talked about, maybe the media narrative. There's one guy who knows how to deal with the media. He's an absolute hit, Mike McDaniel, with the media. He's in kind of every opportunity, kind of being able to kind of almost just knows that is that the right thing to say at the right time. Great for a joke as well. Yes. He was there at the press conference yesterday in Frankfurt around saying how much they're all shocked because he's bigger in person. Just these little things that,
he's definitely very comfortable in his own skin, which is a good thing. And he's just such a contrast from what we had before. And I actually was a fan of Brian Flores. I was impressed with him being able to get 5 wins out of that horrible team that we had in 2019. So I was actually excited about what he was doing. Now, all the behind-the-scenes stuff, obviously, we didn't know about everything that was going on until it came out. So I'm glad that we found Mike McDaniel, that the change happened, and now we have this guy who's all about supporting the players and making the players as power, as strong and as good as they could possibly feel, kind of lifting them up and making them, putting them in positions to be successful and to be the best versions of themselves that they can be. And it starts with Tua. He came into it, that's your starting quarterback. So he did everything possible to empower Tua, to give Tua the confidence that he needed. Because that poor kid was at a point where he was questioning whether or not he was good enough to play. And this was one of the greatest college quarterbacks ever. And he was really good at college. Yeah, he had the injuries. But I think you're seeing the best out of him. There's always going to be those people who are but people. I tell my son that. Shout out to my oldest son, Jonathan, who's a big-time Dolphin fan as well. I tell him there's always going to be those but people. Like Tua could literally win a Super Bowl. And there's going to be people that be like, yeah, but he didn't do this or he didn't do that. So you got to just block that all out. He's got great accuracy and he plays in this system well. Second year in the system. So I think he's only going to get better. Mike McDaniel's only going to get better with his play calling and building that offense. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm really excited. And it's nice to have a coach that you can actually listen to and has a sense of humor and can actually, have some fun with it.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's doing a great job, and there's more to come. I think from the Dolphins. It's not, we're halfway through the year, and I think that they're going to have a big say in the AFC playoffs come January. Who's kind of, we talked about, we know Tyreek Hill's going to, he's got a good chance of breaking 2,000 yards receiving yards. He's on pace for it. We know about Waddle. Who's somebody sort of that we don't talk about or hear too much about from the Dolphins that's kind of having an under the radar good season?
Well, I mean, the obvious one would be up until he got hurt recently is the rookie Devon Achane. I think Kader Kohu, who plays the slot corner, has had a really good season. Deshaun Elliott, who's a safety that we got from Detroit last year, has played really well alongside Javon Holland. Jalen Phillips is somebody who I think is ready to just bust out. He missed a few games. He's completely healthy now, and I think the combination of him and Chubb could be exciting. But as far as somebody who's having a low-key, really nice season and not a lot of people talk about it, I'm going to go and give Durham Smythe some love, the tight end for the Miami Dolphins. Going into the season, they let Mike Gesicki walk. He went to New England. So there was a lot of, the Dolphins need to draft a tight end, Well, he's played extremely well. He's a really good blocker. No, he's not going to, Travis Kelce people or George Kittle people, but he'll make the catch when it comes to him. He makes the plays that are needed to play, but he's good with just being a blocker and doing his job. So I'm going to give Durham Smythe some love. He's having a really nice season. He's a little banged up right now, so hopefully he's good to go for this game in Germany. But he's an extension of that offensive line, and I think that's key for Miami's success.
And I know the Dolphins, and I've had the pleasure of seeing the Dolphins over here in the UK, in London before. What's been the noise around or any particular excitement about kind of getting the chance to go and play in Germany around kind of Miami and around the Dolphins?
Yeah, I mean, it's an exciting opportunity. I mean, for the team, for the league, obviously the league is trying to go as global as possible. So I know the Dolphins are excited about the opportunity. I mean, they traveled out there Monday afternoon so that way they could spend the whole week out there and actually enjoy the Tuesday off day as a team and get to see the sights and stuff like that. I thought that was a really good idea by Mike McDaniel, not only to get there so that the players can enjoy the opportunity of being over there, but it also gives them time for their bodies to adjust to the clock. Whereas Kansas City, I believe, just left today. So I think that's something that, for you bettors out there may want to take that into account. If you saw what happened to Buffalo when they left on Thursday and Jacksonville had been there all week, Buffalo didn't look very good coming out in that game. So that might be something for people to look for. But no, it's a great opportunity, and I can't see anything better than waking up Sunday morning, getting some coffee, and having a game at 9:30 in the morning Eastern time. It's pretty cool.
Nice, yeah. And then it was the same with the Titans in London as well. The Titans came out late. And they struggled as well, and so a bit of a theme, and maybe that carries on. It's not easy.
I hope so.
Yeah, some teams try and do it that way to almost cheat the body clock and cheat the time difference by not changing anything, by coming out late. But yeah, it's
I think that's a bit of a risky move, but we'll see what happens. I mean, again, when you have number 15 back there, it's hard to doubt them at all. But I think that one might be something that could be in Miami's advantage.
Yeah, and on that note, obviously the Chiefs fell to the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, that's one of those cupcakes that we beat.
Yeah, absolutely. Put 70 on as well.
Yes. Right.
Is it a plus or a minus? Because it almost is like the Chiefs kind of treating this as a real bounce back game now, because that's one that you wouldn't, they beat the Broncos 16 times in a row. Is it a bad thing for Miami that the Chiefs dropped that game, or is it just inconsequential?
Well, I mean, I think you need to know that Kansas City is definitely going to be ready to play. They're going to want to bounce back, like you mentioned, from that embarrassing loss to Denver. They had dominated Denver, especially since Patrick has been in the league. So yeah, it's a you kind of wish they would have won that game and kind of sleepwalked into this game a little bit, but at the same time, you want to beat the best at their best. So I'd rather have Kansas City fired up, ready to go. Plus, I'm pretty sure a lot of them had this game circled, going up against their former teammate in Tyreek. I know he's had it circled. So any fantasy people, yes, you're gonna you're gonna love his output. I think he's gonna have a big game. But no, like I said, you want to beat the best at their best. So is it? Yes, it is a bit of a, would you have preferred they won that game? Yeah. But now you want to play them when they're ready to go. They're going to bring their A game, and we have to be ready to play. If we're going to consider ourselves a possible championship contender, and these are games that you need to start winning.
Yeah. Well, I see it's going to be a cracking game, and what a start to the day as well. We've got that. So Dolphins, Chiefs, Seahawks, Ravens, Cowboys, Eagles, Bills, Bengals.
Yes.
What a Sunday it's going to be. So yeah,
Yes.
fingers crossed and best of luck for Miami on Sunday, Johnny.
Yeah.
It should be a great game.
I think it's going to be a wonderful day. You hit it on the head with all those matchups. It's going to be a fun Sunday for football fans. So we should all enjoy it.
Yeah, it's going to be a great one. So let's get into that a little bit then, because I'm sure we're going to cover some of the games. You're going to take part in our FourFold challenge. So just a reminder, our FourFold challenge for everybody watching and listening, it's our one favorite, one underdog, one under, one over picks for the week. We're doing it as between the three of us on the show. We're doing it as whoever finishes last is going to make a donation to charity based on the gap between bottom, which is me, and Joe at the top. So it's looking like quite a sizable donation at the minute because the gap's pretty big. But yeah, it'll be to a cause.
You still got a lot of season to go, Paul. You got a lot of season to go. You can make it up. You can make it up, but
or it could just be a chasm.
Yes.
So we'll see. Hopefully we get back on the right track this week. But it's not about my picks, Johnny. It's about your picks. So hit us with your favorite. Who's your favorite of the week then? Who have you picked as your?
All right, my favorite of the week. I'm gonna go with Philly at home and with the -3. I know Dallas is coming off of a nice win, a nice convincing win. Philly is 3-1 in their last 4 home games against Dallas. I think Philly is really starting to get going. AJ Brown is playing like a monster right now. I know Jalen Hurts has a bit of a knee issue, but at the same time, I think the offensive line is playing very well for Philly. And I just think these divisional matchups, Dallas is 1 game behind the Eagles, so I think the Eagles want to take this opportunity to put a little bit of space between themselves and Dallas. So I'm going to go with Philly -3.
Yeah, you break my heart, Johnny. You do. You really break my heart as a big Cowboys fan. But yeah, well, I get it. It makes sense.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
It's okay, man. It's okay. Yeah, Eagles are a wagon at home. They're so good as a favorite at home. So on this one, I think it's just blind optimism and sheer loyalty. I think the Cowboys they got absolutely whomped by the 49ers. It was embarrassing, and I think there's just a bit of there's a point to prove here. If Dallas go down and get beat easy by Philadelphia here, it's I think the division, you're 2 behind them in the division. You're not going to chase them down, and it's the whole they're soft. They've been bullied again. All this. I think the defense is going to come up big. Its last 2 games, it's got better. Played well against Chargers. Played well against the Rams. Again, not the same as playing the Eagles and the Niners. I get that, but I just think this defense has got a huge statement to make. So, of course, I'm hoping we win, but we'll see.
I mean, I expect a really good, hard-fought game. I expect it to be a close game, but I can see Philly at least covering the 3. I don't expect it to be any kind of a blowout. That Dallas defense is legit. Dak is starting to get going. CeeDee Lamb's playing well. So I expect it to be a fun, competitive game. I'm just leaning towards Philly more because they're at home. And I think they're trying to. They saw San Francisco stumble, so I think they're seeing, okay, this is our opportunity to kind of grab a chokehold of that number 1 seed. And I think Philly really wants to. If they can have home field throughout the playoffs, I think they really love that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a chance for the Niners being off for the Eagles to get 3 games ahead of them. So yeah,
right.
Could be huge for the race for the number 1 seed. Who's your underdog then? Which dog's going to bark the loudest this week, and who's your favorite underdog?
I think it's going to happen tonight. I'm going to go with Tennessee plus the 3 at Pittsburgh. Fitzpatrick is out. I haven't heard yet what's going on with Levi Wallace in the secondary, but he was questionable last I saw this morning. So that's 2 big pieces in the secondary. I know TJ Watt is there, and he is a monster. I know Cam Hayward is back. But I just think Tennessee's riding this momentum of Will Levis at his first game, and I know it's in Pittsburgh and Mike Tomlin, and I got nothing but respect for Mike Tomlin and that Pittsburgh defense. But how is Pittsburgh going to score?
Yeah,
Pickett is coming off of some rib injury, so I don't know. I just don't trust Pittsburgh. I got something here. Pittsburgh's averaging 15 points at home, so I'm gonna go ahead and go with my boy Sam, Mr. First Down, and his Tennessee Titans, and I'm gonna say that they win. I think they win outright, but if you're gonna give me 3 points, I'll take them.
Yeah, I love this. I love the Tennessee Titans as well, Johnny. We talk about Mike Tomlin as an underdog. Well, Coach Vrabel's record as an underdog is equally as impressive. And I can't trust the Pittsburgh Steelers as a favorite at the minute.
Right.
Defensively, absolutely incredible. One of the best defensive teams in the league in football. But yeah, it's just very similar. The game played out that way last week against Jacksonville, whereas the defense got stops, the defense got turnovers, and the offense just couldn't do anything with it.
Right.
And yeah, I like Will. I'll apologize to Will Levis if I ever see him in person, because I had nothing good to say about him pre-draft process. I had nothing good to say about him, but he came in and balled out last week. Those deep balls to D Hop were things of beauty. So. Yeah,
and I think that connection will happen at least once tonight, because this could be a very ugly, low-scoring game. But I think, like I said, I think Tennessee hangs with them if they don't win it outright. Because I'm with you. I just don't trust Pittsburgh to be able to score any points.
Yeah, cool, good shout. Love that. Titans +3. Who's your? There's a lot of low totals this week. Who's your under this week, Johnny? Where do you think we're going to?
I'm going with two of the worst teams in this league. I'm going to take the under 37 with the Giants at Las Vegas. Las Vegas, as you know, just fired everybody. Josh McDaniels, the GM. They benched Jimmy Garoppolo, which I actually think the O'Donnell kid is actually okay. But again, he's a rookie. I think this Giants defense is actually, even though they just traded away, what's his name?
Oh, Leonard Williams.
Leonard Williams. Yeah, they just traded him away for basically nothing. But I like this Giants defense. It's not going to be a very high scoring game, in my opinion. The Giants are only averaging 11.9 points per game. So, and Vegas is averaging 15.8 at home. So I'll take the under 37. I wish I would have grabbed it earlier in the week when it was 39, but I'll take the 37, because this could easily be a 14-10, 17-10 type game.
Yeah, I'm expecting an ugly game as well, and I'm not sure if we're going to get Daniel Jones back, or we're going to still see.
I believe Daniel Jones will be back, but most of those offensive linemen are still not going to be there. So yeah, it's going to be. You saw how ugly it was against the Jets. Now, Vegas does not have near that type of a defense that the Jets do, but I just think I don't trust either of these offenses to put up many points at all.
Yeah, I think Max Crosby could have a huge day here with how porous that Giants O-line is. And yes,
absolutely.
Picked as the under 37. Good shout. I still find it, and it's still at this point in the week. So they sat the GM, the coach, the offensive coordinator the day after,
yes.
and bench Jimmy G,
right.
Freddie O'Connell, and the Raiders are still favorites in this game.
That was insane to me. Like, because I think the Giants win this game, to be completely honest. That was almost going to be my underdog pick there, but it was like, is it just too obvious to do that? So let me just stay away from it and just take the under in this one. But yeah, it's gonna be an ugly game. That's gonna be one of those that if you're watching the red zone, you probably won't see any highlights, but one or two the whole game.
It's because in the late afternoon slate, because
it's 4:25.
Yeah, because we've got the Germany game. There's only 3 games late, and there's Eagles, Cowboys, Colts, Panthers, and that Giants Raiders game. So just watch Cowboys Eagles, everybody.
I was gonna say I feel bad for all the people that are stuck watching this game. If that's your only option at the 4:00 slot, go get some honeydew stuff done around the house or something, and get ready for that Sunday night game.
Yeah. Feel real sorry for just anybody going to Allegiant Stadium to watch that.
Oh my God.
Hit us with your over then. Finish off. So we've got Eagles -3, Titans +3, Giants Raiders under 37. What's your over for the week going to be, Johnny?
I'm going with I just mentioned it, the Sunday night game. I think this Buffalo at Cincinnati game has the potential to be a high scoring affair. Buffalo lost some key pieces on defense with Matt Milano and Trey White going down. They're averaging 27.8 points a game. Cincinnati is averaging 18.7, but 27.3 in their last 3 games. And you can tell that Joe Burrow is starting to feel a lot better. That team is playing a lot better. Cincinnati is reminding people, don't forget about us just yet. So I think Cincinnati is due to go on a nice run here and battle Baltimore for that division lead. So I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I was a little nervous about the 49.5, but I mean, I think they might smash it. I think it could be possibly a 31-30 type game, a 34-31 type game. So I'm expecting a lot of scoring on Sunday night. I'm expecting a fun night. So I'm going to go over on the 49.5 with the Bills at Bengals.
Yeah, I'm hoping because the Sunday night games so far have been a bit good so far, haven't they? So we need one to get it going, and this has got to be the one, right? It's a huge game. There's going to be playoff seeding implication in this one, probably, given kind of where those two teams are. And Burrow looked so good last week against San Francisco.
Yeah, he's playing very well. I mean, they're running the ball well. I mean, the defense is actually playing pretty well, but I'm going to give Josh Allen the benefit of the doubt because they're going to have to put up points to compete with Cincinnati. Like I mentioned, with the injuries on the defensive side for Buffalo, they have to put up points. So, and it's a showcase game, Sunday Night Football. You're the only team playing, the only game on. Everybody's watching. Stephon Diggs and company is going to be ready to play. Josh Allen's going to be ready to play. And, of course, Joe Burrow and company for Cincinnati going to be ready. So, I'm expecting a lot of points in that game. It's going to be a perfect way to end, hopefully, a great Sunday.
Yeah, it's going to be such a good day. Really looking forward to this one, the way it's kind of fell, where the teams are. Plenty of huge games, but 4 massive games. It should be a good one. Yeah. So, just to round up Johnny's picks, we've got his favourite, the Philadelphia Eagles, -3. Tennessee Titans as the underdog, with the +3 against the Steelers. Giants Raiders under 37 and Bills Bengals over 49.5. Johnny, best of luck with the picks. Hopefully you're going to be the one to go 4-0.
I hope so. As long as I don't go 0-4, I'll be okay.
I'm going to take that back, actually, because I don't want the Eagles to win, man. I don't want the Eagles -3.
Hey, if I go 3-1, I'll be more than happy to take that L there on that one, man. Just for you, bro.
Appreciate you, Johnny. Appreciate it. Well, thanks ever so much for coming on. Always great to have you on Good Teams and Great Teams cover, and hopefully we'll have you back soon, Johnny.
Anytime, man. I appreciate it, Paul. Anytime you need me or want me to be on, I'm here for you, bro.
Yeah, awesome. Make sure you go give Johnny a follow at the Yankee Fin, and also get across all the content that Johnny's on the Let's Talk Sports Network, including the Let's Talk Sports Thursday night show, the pre-game show on Sunday mornings, which is awesome. In fact, you had me on a few weeks ago. I'm not coming on again for a while though because the Cowboys lost that day. So
yeah, we might have jinxed you a little bit there, but no, yeah, you're always welcome, and we love having you on, man. The Let's Talk Sports is a big family, so. Looking forward to it. Yeah, definitely check me out.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, lots of great stuff. So make sure you get involved. That brings us to the end of our Week 9 picks and preview episode of Good Teams and Great Teams cover. As always, make sure you give us a follow on Spotify, Good Teams and Great Teams cover, and all of our social media channels. We've just added another one, so you can catch us on Twitter or X, depending what you're calling it, Instagram, YouTube, and now TikTok. I don't know if you've seen, Johnny, but we've got a dog making Thursday Night Football picks.
Yes. I just saw that a little earlier. I gave it a nice like there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's Byron's dog Charlie. So yeah, we'll see how long that goes. But he needs a win though. He's 0-1 so far, so he needs a win. But thanks ever so much for joining us, and we'll catch you for our Week 9 review show early next week.